So guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you can see we've been busy today making these tea light holders. We've not got round to drilling the holes in them yet, but they are hexagon shape. I have a Forstner bit here. This is 42mm. You will need that if you are going to turn them into tea light holders, and what we'll be doing is putting a hole in the centre there for the holder. Now, I made a video previously with the einhell table saw, did a quick review on it, and this is exactly what I bought it for making things like this as a production line. And I also made this jig to go on it. Now obviously I'm going to take you through that quickly of how I made it, but again I've made another video which will probably leave a link up in the top corner there somewhere for that video. But yeah, like I said, today we're making hexagon shape tea light holders, or you could even call them cup placemats, coasters, that kind of thing. Might be a little bit thick for a coaster, that, but if you use a thinner material or even just rip this down, you could make some quite nice coasters with that as well. But as you can see, that the wood's got a lot of patina to it. They're actually old floorboards. You can tell they're old by the thickness of them, and none of these pieces of wood are the same thickness, and that just shows you how rough they are. And like I say, if you look at that, you can't buy that look at the surface. If you turn them over, they're a lot smoother obviously, but the side that's been actually walked on, they actually came out of a garage. These were on the garage floor of a wooden garage. The floor was wooden, the garage was wooden, everything was wooden, and literally used to park a car in a wooden floor garage. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is take you through how I made the jig quickly, and then we're going to crack on with making a few more of these. So this is the jig, like I previously said, more commonly known as a sled, and you can make these for all kinds of things, for such as doing stuff like this. And you'll notice immediately that it slides on the bench saw itself in these grooves here. Now to do that, I had to make some runners that went inside like this. The way you do that is you measure that distance there. Obviously make these out of wood. Now you could probably buy something that's already been machined for that purpose, and slot them straight in. And what you do is you just place them into the runners, and then scrap piece of plywood, this is just an offcut, some super glue on the runners, put the plywood on, let it stick down, and then countersink some screws into the base of it like so. And once you've done that, you just need to set up your fence for your angles, and I used a digital protractor for this to make a hexagon shape. This is a 120-degree angle, so you need 60 from your blade. Like I said, this is a digital protractor. Placed it on there, found the correct angle, attacked to this in first with a couple of screws, cut a piece of wood, this is plywood, and then took that piece and placed it there, and then tested it with some scrap wood first, held it against. As you can see, it holds it in quite well. First cut, spun it around, second cut, spun it round, and so on till I made a hexagon shape. It was extremely accurate. All these are actually the same size. Now with it being old wood, it will move slightly as well on the base, because it's got no machined edge to it, so you have to bear that in mind when you do this. Like I said, just picked it up on the saw there. So, but I'm not too concerned about that because they are a rustic look. However, these are the ones I made out of the plywood that was left. Like I said, run it in, turn it round, run it in, turn it round, run it in, turn it round, and there you go. So we're just going to quickly show you how to set it up with your first one. Once you have your piece, all that's left to do is the tedious job of sanding it. So what I'm doing here is making like a template jig. What this will do, it will hold the candle holders or coasters, whatever, in place. But if I'm making candle holders, I need to be able to drill the actual seat for the candle holders. There you can see I've cut some pieces out on the same jig for the hexagon shape, and I'm going to screw these into place for now and place them around the piece I've just cut. I'm going to make it a little bit slack, because just in case there's any variations in the pieces that I'm going to sort out. So here I am, I'm finding the center with a speed square, just making 3 lines. Start with the forstner bit. Now you could do with a pillar drill here, but unfortunately I don't have one, and what was happening is it kept slipping and sliding around. The wood surface of the wood is very uneven, and in places there were a few knots here and there, and when it was hitting them it was sliding all over the place. It wasn't very secure. I tried on at least 3 pieces trying to get it right, and it just didn't work. So the point of the drill needs to go where you've just marked, obviously, but I don't know if you can see that, but it is moving. I'm trying to use the speed square there to level the drill up, so I'm going in straight, holding it in with my thumb against the jig that I've just made. But as you can see, that the drill is moving, it's moved off center. It's slightly, now you can see it wiggling around a little bit. This has been speeded up, by the way, but you can see the drill there. Just so I keep trying to get it on track, and as you can see, everything's now vibrating off the table. So it obviously didn't work. It got a little bit frustrating towards this, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do now? Like I said, you could do with a pillar drill for this, because it just doesn't really work with a cordless drill. So I revised the jig at this point. As you can see, I'm just putting another hexagon that I've cut out. You need to keep clearing the wood shavings as well, and I'm about to revise the jig now because that obviously didn't work. So what I'm doing now is using one of the plywood hexagon shapes that I cut earlier, and I'm marking out the center, because what I intend to do is use that as a template for the forstner bit. So I have a hole saw. Now this is a 44mm one, and I'm drilling all the way through the plywood into the base. Now I'm still using the same jig. Obviously this is keeping the piece of plywood in place. As you can see, it takes a while for it to go through. I mean, I've speeded this video up, but there we go. I've made a hole, and that will also enable me to find the center of the hexagons quite quickly, so I don't need to mark anything out now. This will just sit on top. So now what I'm going to do is make another jig with higher a bit thicker piece of wood, and we're going high enough now to accept the hexagon shapes that I've cut, and also the plywood hexagon centerpiece. So I'm cutting a few pieces here to make sure I've got enough, and what we'll do is place them, remove the original ones and reattach these in place. So what I think I'll do is I'm just going to use the countersinker now just to deburr the holes where the screws have been, so they sit flush with the plywood. I'm going to turn it upside down in a minute. Once I've stuck these on, I'm going to stick these on with some mighty fast adhesive. This again is 2-part adhesive. You have some glue and then some activator which you just spray on. I'm just sticking these down so they stay on, because I need to turn the plywood upside down and then screw them from underneath. I'm just using one of the hexagon shapes just to line them up. Again, I'm leaving a little bit of play just in case there's any variations, so don't struggle. Again, it's only to hold them in place to stop them spinning while the drill's turning. So once the glue is set, I just need to screw them into place. I'm just taking a few measurements now so that I can find the wood underneath. What I should really have done is just drilled straight through the holes. This is a design and build jig, as they call them. So I'm just drilling some pilot holes in, countersinking them as usual so they sit flush, and then just screwing them into place, making sure it's secure. Now sit that back down, place the hexagon into it. That fits nice. I think I've just lost my little template. Oh, it's there. And now we're just going to drill the T-hole holders. As you can see, I keep removing the drill, blowing the sawdust out of the way because it can interfere with the drill. And as you can see, it didn't slide about. Once I'd got down to a certain depth, I took the template off and started drilling down like that. That way I could see what depth I was going in. You can mark the drill and do it that way. I'm doing it just by I'm just going a little bit lower than the actual top of the drill that you can see. So it's about 15 millimeters. But as you can see, as I'm doing each one now, I'm getting them exactly in the center because I'm using the template that I've just made out of plywood. So now what I'm doing is I'm removing a little wheel from the inside of the hole saw. What I'm going to do is just make a little sanding drum so I can sand the insides. Just using the bolt there, I've countersunk the bolt, just tapping it down. So this is a coach bolt, so it's got a little square, recessed square on the inside of that cap on the end of the bolt. So what it does, it just grips the wood. So I'm gluing it in, just using a sanding disc, cutting around the edges so I can sand, and just trimming the edges off. Once I've done that, I just need to cut a strip of sandpaper and then just stick it to the outer edge, sticking it in place. Attach that to my drill. Find a battery that's charged first of all. Putting it back into the jig, just sanding there. You can see the sanders going in. Just rounds the holes off, gets any imperfections off the sides. Quite easy to do. So then once you've done all this, you're just on with whatever finishes you want to put on them. So I'm just trying a bit of sepia wax. This is like a greyish, blackish wax. Usually just brings out the grain. However, because you've got the old and where I've cut, it does look a bit weird, I think. But we'll see how it goes. I'm just doing the ones that went wrong first to see how it looks. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. The various different coatings you can place on with waxes. But it does help seal the wood as well and stops it from cracking. So here we go, these are the ones that went wrong, and I have given them a coat of sepia wax as you've just seen, and I've let it dry for a couple of hours, and I've placed a couple of tealights in just to give you an idea of what they look like with tealights in. As you can see, there's a lot of movement there. That is because the bit was sliding about. They are quite weird, odd shapes as well. But all in all, they don't look too bad. These are very rustic pieces of wood. Like I said, I think I said earlier, they are out of a garage. They are a garage floor, actually. They are floorboards. So if you were thinking garage concrete floor, then no, this was a full wooden garage with wooden floorboards. They're all different thicknesses, as you can see. These are a lot worn, the right kind of wax or oil to put on them to bring out the best in the wood, I think. I'm going to play around with the others that I've made and see if we can get a good contrast on what to do. But there you go, these are the candles, the candle holders. Like I said, hexagon shapes. You can make coasters or whatever you want with these hexagon shapes. Let your imaginations run wild. But these are basically candle holders, like I've just said, and there you go, that's what they look like. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you got something out of it. So I'll probably do some more videos with some more woodworking ideas and that, and we'll see how we get on with these. Anyway, might do an update video in a few months or so. But there you go, they're the candle holders. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in another video soon.